Well, Raymond arrives at the Group 1 Coolmore Classic third up from a spell after being given a very light spring campaign last time in, and we feel like the mare's just in perfect condition. The prospect of a little bit of rain around is going to be right up her alley, and the significant 3.5 kilo swing in the weights against Dixie Blossoms, who defeated her last time narrowly, is definitely in her favour coming into a big handicap like this. The mare will carry 52.5 kilos. She worked really strongly on Tuesday morning with a little bit of juice in our grass track here at Osborne Park, and she just looks like she's ready to run a very big race. We also have the 3-year-old filly Alizee in the race, and coming out of her last start in the Surround Stakes, where she got all the splits go her way to finish off over the top of them, but was unable to do so. We have a bit of a query in the back of our minds if the track is rain affected this weekend, and so we're going to be conscious of that in terms of whether or not she'll be taking her place. But with that aside, we feel like she is doing really well since the Surround. She's just upped her work a little bit and looks to have responded. We are conscious that the 3-year-old fillies have a great record of running well in the Coolmore, but it's going to take a top filly to be beating those mares carrying 54 kilos with only 4 kilos to the top weighted runner. Nevertheless, this can be an important stepping stone for Alizee going forward into her preparation. But with options the following week, we'll make sure that she's only lining up if we get the sort of track conditions that she requires. Sanction's nominated for the Group 2 Far Lap Stakes over 1,500 metres on Saturday at Rosehill, and we can see the horse would have to improve many lengths on his first up run, where he badly needed it, knocking up over the final 150 metres. Nevertheless, back to set weights against these 3-year-old peers, he will be far better suited than having raced the older horses first up, which might have been the sort of run that has toughened him up enough to be getting back on terms with these horses. But he's really going to need it dry, and he's really going to need to improve significantly to be competitive. Interlocutor appears to have improved fractionally coming out of the Liverpool City Cup, where he raced over 1,300 metres that was a distance below his best. Getting up to the 1,500 metres now at Rosehill appears to be his race on paper, until I saw the nominations and found that it was probably one of the strongest Ajaxes we've seen in many years. So look, we'll be wary of that. There's a potential for us to give him more like a month between runs and eye off something like the Doncaster Prelude. But the horse is great, and we were impressed with his training on Tuesday morning, coming out of the sort of run in the Liverpool City Cup that suggested he would be better over further. Coming up this week, we have Cristobal in the Magic Night, and a horse called Roosevelt nominated for the Pago Pago. Firstly, Cristobal was an impressive winner on debut at Rosehill. She was a little underestimated in the market on debut, but some strong training had proved to us that she was going to be more than competitive, particularly after having a really solid grounding for that run. And the run hasn't shaken her up in any way, shape or form. She appears to be, if anything, even more relaxed, and she's going into the weekend with a good frame of mind. But we've got our feet on the ground with her in light of the fact that we'll be tackling the Golden Slipper favourite, Sunlight, who will be on the 7-day back up into the grand final. And it's quite unlikely that she's good enough to topple her, but we'd love to see her range up and race well behind her. And you might see a filly like Cristobal again later on in the autumn if she's able to perform as strongly as that. In the Pago Pago, our colt Roosevelt, who was an impressive winner on debut at Warwick Farm, he'll quite potentially line up there, given how well he's done since that win. We were impressed with the way he outmuscled his opposition when they came at him late in that race, and the amount of improvement that horse has shown from his trials to his first up performance on debut is enough to consider that he might continue to make that sort of quantum leap forward that's necessary to be competitive at Group 3 level. You know, conscious of course that written buys in the nominations there, and he's sort of raced away with a Blue Diamond, and he's already performing at a much higher level. But two interesting 2-year-olds taking into the weekend.